I just wanted to continue from there. So I was talking about the bullying because everything ties into this bullying hostility um, that I have been, subjected to since for about 8 to 10 years. Uh, it's really nice that it started when my son was born. When I moved to Richmond Hill, Oak Ridges, that's when it really all started. Just a few years after that, when we started at the school, that's when somebody decided to make me a victim of major persecution and bullying. So anyway, thank God they seem well adjusted, although my younger son cannot go to school. No matter what happens, there's always major issues with the teachers have major issues. Speaking of teachers, I was, when I first started taking my young son, the older son, when he was young, when I first started taking him to school, I noticed there was a lot of hostility from the mothers and the staff at the school, including the teachers. A lot of dirty looks, a lot of staring, and I didn't understand what was going on. I like, I think they say that I write too many letters or notes or something. But I talked to another teacher who said I get so many notes from parents all the time. So that you know, so and also the hostility and brutality started before I wrote the first negative letter. So they can't use that as an excuse because I noticed that the dirty looks and the staring and the gawking and the negativity and the bullying that all started before I even wrote the first letter. So and also the very first letter I wrote was actually a very positive letter. It was a very positive letter. It was I was complimenting the teacher. I was complimenting the school. And then right after that, that's when the bullying started. So maybe somebody wasn't happy with that letter, complimenting the school. So basically, what I want to get to here is, right now my husband is looking for a new vehicle. I'm not going to say which dealership, but there's a guy named Julio who sold him the vehicle that we're buying. And I was supposed to get that for my birthday, so that ties into my birthday. That was supposed to be ready on my birthday. But Julio has disappeared. So he needed 3 days off for his birthday. My husband was like, "What?" He was like, "What's going on with our car? Like, where's our car? Like, it's been like a week and a half. Like, where's Julio?" And the guy said, "He's his birthday." He said he needs 3 days for his birthday. Like, look at me. I don't even get a call. One call from one of my sisters. Like I'm dead, right? I'm basically dead. And they're fine with that. And my husband was saying, well, my birthday passed, and it was just like I went to work, and but Julio's taking 3 days off, and he hasn't gotten back to us about our vehicle, which we put a deposit on. So the gist of it is, the only color available, which is a non-color, is white. Now, why white has extreme significance for me because at the schools, I just find it strange that they keep pushing white on me. White, white, white. We actually asked for black, but they're searching all over Canada, all over Ontario. There's no black in this vehicle, no black at all. So they keep pushing white. How about white? White's available. Now, the thing about white is, I have an aversion to white vehicles, and the reason is because when I started taking my sons to school in our area, the public school and the Catholic school, there were a lot of women in white vehicles. There were a lot of women in white vehicles who were driving extremely aggressively and with serious hostility. I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why. They would drive down the street. I was coming up the street. They were driving in the opposite direction. They would come extremely fast and cross the line. So I kept, over and over again, it was like I was going to get into a head-on collision. They would come down the street really fast, extremely fast. I couldn't believe it because I thought, what about the kids? Aren't you concerned you're going to run somebody over? Which always concerned me. They would come down the street really fast, almost looked like they were going to hit my car. This happened all the time. It got to the point where I was worried that it was like risking my life just to go to school. And then other times I would go down the street, Bayswater, for example. I would drive down the street and there'd be like white. I remember there was a woman in a white, some blonde woman in a white van. And she was staring at me, giving me dirty looks. I was like, I don't even know who you are. Like, I have no clue who you are. How do you know who I am, and why are you giving me dirty look? And then I came behind her, and all I did was stop, and then she got really upset at me, and started honking her horn. But and then it was like, what did I do? I'm stopping. I'm not doing anything. Like, she would honk. I think I slowly came to her side to get out, like, which is what I would do. Most people do. They want to go home. They want to go home, right? So I think I came behind her to the side, and then she started beeping, honking her horn at me, like I did something wrong, because she was sitting there doing nothing. Well, she was giving me dirty looks. I guess that was her purpose. So things like that, and other times, like, they would follow me. Once there was a white vehicle. I went to pick up my son in the afternoon, and there was a white van behind me, and there was a woman whose elbows were out like a witch, like just like this, like a witch. Her elbows are up, and she had a black hat that went up pointy, like that, and she was going like this. Like she was out to get me, and she had that black hat up, pointing up. It was in October, I think, and her elbows were up, and she looked like her face was towards, like, it was, you could see it was pushed towards the steering wheel. So she was bent forward with her elbows up, and her black hat pointed up like a witch's hat, and she was tailing me, which is very common. Another time in the public school, a woman almost killed my younger son. This woman she's Filipino, she had been giving me dirty looks all year long, and I didn't know why. I just kept seeing her going, she kept staring at me and going, from her, sitting in her car, in her van, and staring at me going like this. And I was like, and that's just one of the things. There were so much other when we went to the public school. So what happened was, in the spring, I went to pick up my son, and I told my husband. I told my husband this so many times, because I can't believe she would actually do something like that. The parking lot was empty. It was lunchtime. It was after lunch. I came out with my son up to take him home, because a lot of times he wanted to come home. He wasn't comfortable because he was sensing how I was being treated. And when the child senses how the mom's being treated, they don't feel comfortable at school anymore, right? So that's exactly what was happening. So he wanted to come home. He didn't want to stay. So I walk out. There were no cars anywhere except this one woman in her van, the one that had been giving me dirty looks all year. So I was walking out straight. My son was walking out straight on the curb. All of a sudden, she was just sort of on the side. She backed out so fast for no reason. There were no cars. She just decided to reverse extremely aggressively with incredible speed. She almost killed my son. She was so close to the curb. The back of her vehicle was so close to hitting my son. If he had stepped off the curb, he'd be dead today. So that's my experience at public schools in the Oak Ridges area. For reasons unbeknownst to me, she tried to kill my son. I don't know. I'm thanking God he's still alive and he wasn't hurt, but she came really close to killing him. There were no other vehicles in the parking lot. There was no reason for her to back up that quickly, that aggressively. She was really angry at me for some reason. I don't know why. Because really nothing can justify that. You have to remember that. Nothing. Think, ladies, think. Nothing could really justify that. I think Karla Homolka, I've never committed a crime. I'm not a pedophile. I don't kill people. I think Karla Homolka probably experienced had a much better experience than I ever did in this area, and I still don't know what I did. And remember, if it's because I write professional letters, that started way before I even wrote the first letter, right? So and again, it's like there's no justification. You can't justify it. You can't say, well, the reason we almost killed your son is because you wrote that letter. But remember, my letters are very professional. I'm a professional writer. I spend a lot of time in them. I make sure there's no threats. I really get to the facts, right? What I know are the facts. I do a lot of interviewing and stuff. So I'm just going to check to make sure I've got everything in here. So we still don't have the vehicle. we still don't have the vehicle for my birthday, and they want me to get white. They keep saying they want me to get white. I just thought that was really weird because we asked for, first they asked for blue, then they asked for creek green, and then they said, okay, we'll get black. But now there's no black, and Julio's gone. We have no vehicle. My husband's worried he's not going to get his down payment back, right? And they want me to get white so bad, and I have an aversion to white. I just thought that was really weird.